What's going on, everybody? Jeff Fuller with you. Jay Fuller Interviews on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Certainly subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jay Fuller Interviews. Feel the burn. No, not Bernie Sanders. We have Bernie Cieplicki joining the program. Bernie, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, I'm so excited to have you. Feel the burn. Sorry for that play on words, but you were a big deal back in the day. Did you realize, or the family that you come from was such a big deal, so to speak, within Vermont basketball?
You know, Not really because it was just something that was always there. I was 10 years younger than my oldest brother. And, my dad obviously, got the whole thing going at St. Michael's. And it was just one of those things that I embraced. I loved the game. And I just had two great role models in my brother Kevin and my brother Keith, as well as my dad. Um, and just kept going, and it was just something I enjoyed. And if anything, it pushed me to strive for excellence because of the standard that was set by those in my family already.
So did you ever feel pressure? I'm the youngest. My sister, God love her, but she's not a great athlete. She was a runner, so she did something athletic. My brother for Vermont basketball Division 4, he turned out to be a really good player. For me, I was known for floor burns and hustle plays. When did you realize that it took more than just wanting to become a better player?
It really just kind of started with my brother Keith. Because there was the relationship that I had with him. He would always, with him being 10 years older, bribe me. Hey, you come rebound 500 shots for me, and I'll get you a chocolate bar. Just simple stuff like that, and just his work ethic, and really watching him and the joy that he had when he got drafted by the Lakers in 1995, being the first person ever from the state of Vermont to have that happen, just really put into perspective how hard you have to work and what you have to do. And you throw in a little bit of natural God-given talent that he had, and the opportunities for him were few and far between that a lot of us would ever get.
So my brother's 2 years older than me, and he was always my hero growing up. Just how he treated me, it was just special. With Keith, especially, was he a hero role model, or what was your relationship like besides getting you those chocolate bars?
Yeah, it was all that. It was pretty special between him, my brother Kevin, and God rest his soul, my dad. It was always nice. It was always accountability and work. You do that. We're gonna have some fun, and we're gonna do what we do, away from it. But every day, kind of the motto was, what are you gonna do to make somebody's day better, and what are you gonna do to get better? And that was always instilled with me from my dad. And it's tried to something that I always, talk to my kids about as much as I can to improve yourself, but do something nice for somebody else as well.
Yeah, so good. Hey, what do you recall from your brother being drafted by the Lakers?
Uh, just a lot of nerves, and it's really funny because it was '85, so it wasn't live on TV.
Right.
We had to call into I don't even remember, but you had to call into a telephone service to hear all the names being called, and being called out, and you sat there and you listen, and it's crazy. The guy who was drafted before him was Mario Elia of who
Wow.
had an unbelievable career, and the '85 draft was one of the best drafts that ever happened. So for him to be part of it, and for him to happen, for him to go to the Lakers probably wasn't the best uh, match at the time, but it was an honor, and just the experience that he had and the things that he came back and shared with me was just life altering as an NBA fan. Him having the chance to see Magic work out, see Kareem, be around James Worthy, go against Byron Scott. AC Green was drafted in that same draft.
Yeah.
So just what he has been able to share and see was special.
So I could talk days and listen to stories forever about the draft and those experiences, but I'll try not to. You guys, I mean, you mentioned your dad a lot, and I know he meant a ton for you guys. Going to Rice, how did that help set the foundation, but also give you that compass, so to speak, to be a part of sports, but also carry yourself in such a professional manner?
Well, I think going to Rice, there was, the Rice is kind of like the Red Sox, the Yankees, the Cowboys. You either love them or you hate them.
Yeah.
There's no real indifference, and there were a lot of excited people, and then there were a lot of people that always wanted to see you fall, and you fall a lot more in this lifetime than you rise to the top. So it really made you learn about people want to see, you struggle, and how many times you get knocked down to the canvas, but how many times you get back up and just keep battling and keep going forward and keep trying to be as tough as you can be, and learn from those mistakes so they don't happen again. And so that was, it was always good, but it was always tough, because the bar to be measured at and against, and those that were always trying to um, prove themselves to you on a daily basis, made you have to bring it every day.
High school years are tough, especially with expectations. What was that transition like from high school basketball to playing further college basketball? What was going through your mind? Is that something you always knew was going to be a possibility? And how did you ultimately choose Fairfield to begin?
I chose Fairfield to begin because I wanted to get away. I wanted to kind of try to spread my wings, and unfortunately, there was some family illness. My dad, when I was first born, had a open heart surgery, and had four of those throughout my high school career, and then he needed a heart transplant. We found that out when I was at Fairfield, so he had to. I had to come home, and Coach Brennan and that crew was so welcoming, and brought me back into the family, and I'm very thankful for that. And it was an experience to where I just kind of needed to grow. I enjoyed the experience, but I am better, at the end here, being back and being a Catamount, because that's where the roots really are.
Talk to me about your dad. What did he mean to you?
He was everything. He was the leader. He was the tough guy. He was the general. He was the biggest room in the world is the room for improvement. He was the guy. Oh, you got 98, you could have got 100. Oh, you made 15 in a row, you could have made 60. Always challenging you. Compliments few and far between, but at the end of the day, you knew the undying love was always there.
Yeah, I think that's pretty special, and I wish more students had that opportunity to have a dad such as yours. Speaking about the Catamounts, this picture I found, Bernie Cieplicki, 1995 Kids and Cops. Do you remember when this picture was taken?
Oh, absolutely. The Kids and Cops program was one of the most fun programs that we had at the time at UVM. The gentleman, the police officer in the picture, is actually my brother-in-law. So it was even more family related, and it was just a time to give back to the kids in the community, to come up, to exchange and just talk about say no to drugs, do the right thing, make the right choice. And obviously that's evolved into greater things now in Catamount country, and it's just something that I'm honored to be part of at the beginning. I do get a little heckling, for that. They're like, "Who's the guy on the left?" And I don't know who he is even.
At least you had longer shorts, so at least it
Yeah,
wasn't so
that's
far
true.
back. You had the different shorts. Hey, was basketball your first love?
Absolutely. There was no doubt right from the start. I was always around it. I was born and raised in the gym, and it's just something that I love. And whether it was going to the parks or going to the gym. There is nothing better than the game of basketball. It has provided me so many opportunities, allowed me to see so many different parts of the world and the country, and I am just thankful that I had a great run of being able to play and to coach as well.
What was your favorite aspect about the sport of basketball? Was it shooting, dribbling, just the sound? What are the memories that you think of fondly when you think back about your race days? Is there anything that just is so memorable that you can actually feel it, sense it all again?
Yeah, I mean, I love being, especially in the rice days, being able to kind of quiet hecklers. You know, you're in there. People come and see you, and they want to, um, you know, give you some grief, and you take the grief, and you just kind of do your thing, and play that way. And I just love to compete. I like to compete. Like right now, my wife and I, we can't play Scrabble against each other because it turns into a fight. She's smarter than I am, so she normally wins, and that bothers me. But that's a whole nother, conversation. But I really enjoyed competing, and whether it was at practice playing 2-on-2 or a one-on-one dribble full court or a shooting competition, I want to win, and that's the greatest thing that I always learned, and you learned it at Rice, and then I learned that from my family. It just started from the beginning. Nobody ever wanted to lose. And, it was fun. A lot of dinners got ruined. We lost, but it was well worth it.
So, if memory serves me correctly, you played with Eddie Benton. How did you ever get the basketball from him?
Well, I brought him home and helped him with his laundry, and gave him some gave him some extra food. Now, Eddie was great to play with because even though he had the ball a ton, he always, anytime I got it, it was because he had five guys on him.
Yeah.
And he was so talented at getting into the lane and was so strong with the ball. It just really, and you go back and look at what he did with a shorter schedule because we played less games.
Right.
In the league, there was Drexel, Delaware, Northeastern, Towson, Hofstra. The league was totally different back then. And and to his credit even more, he carried us so much. In that time, Vermont only had 10 scholarships, unlike the full allotment they had now. And that's a huge difference because if you have 10 scholarships and you miss one or two, now you're down to an 8-man rotation if you don't do the scouting report. And then you have an injury or other things. And now, having that depth just isn't there. And so for him to come and do what he did, for his 4-year career was unbelievable. And, I'm just so thankful that I got to play with one of the greatest players of all time.
Yeah, and Bernie, you were shortly after Kevin Roberson. What do you remember about Kevin Roberson's game, and where were you when you heard about his tragic passing?
Yeah, so always being around, I always played with Kevin, pickup and stuff like that. And Kevin was just one of the nicest human beings you will ever come across. And I'll never forget when I transferred back. He was helping. It was just after his career was over, and he was at UVM, and he was trying to figure out what he was going to do next to play. And we would work out all the time because sometimes I wouldn't travel, and he would be around, and just got to know him and appreciate his game. He worked on his jumper tirelessly, and his handle, his timing around the rim, his ability to jump out of the gym was, at a pro level. And I'll never forget, it was Mother's Day, and it was a Sunday, and we got calls to come to the gym, and coach told us that he was killed tragically going to see his mom on Mother's Day, and it was just like, it's just something you can't relive those feelings. And you look at the other players that were on the roster that had spent more time with him, and the devastation, and then going to his funeral out in Buffalo. It it's just a shame that someone who had so much to offer was taken from us so soon, and his name, his legacy, with his number in the rafter will go on and on and on, and justifiably so, because he is one of the best, if not the best, to ever play at UVM.
Oh, definitely. And I'm 45 years old, so I remember watching Kevin play at UVM and just being an impressionable high school kid. It was just so much fun to watch the athleticism coming from what now you might say an undersized player at his position, but just how he carried himself with the fans, with the students was just so professional. And we need to keep telling stories about Kevin as well. But Bernie, talk to me about Coach Tommy Brennan. He's a character. I love him to death. He almost took over the interview when he came on with me. What are your memories of Coach?
Coach was the greatest motivator and the greatest person, I've ever been around. I mean, it goes back to, he recruited my brother Keith to go to the College of William and Mary. He was and did that. So I met him when I was in second grade, and he came up and he'd take 15 minutes and go throw the football with me in the backyard. He would just kind of be around, and he was just a caring man, and he still is. And he does so much for people and for everybody. He was the constant motivator. He was a disciplinarian. He knew when to strike, and he knew when to coddle. And that was the one thing, his ability to read people, understand, give them what they need, but also hear them. If there was a problem, he would listen and he would hear you. And if he made a mistake, or you thought he was wrong and you talked to him and did that, he was enough to say, yeah, you're right. And that's the thing that I really appreciate about Coach Brennan is, take the basketball out of it. Basketball is basketball. He knows it, and that's a given. He was a teacher. He was the keeper of the flame and the leader of the program, and that's why the court is named after him, because he built it and he did it, and he's just by far one of the most influential people, other than my father and brothers and family, to ever come into my life.
Yeah, so true. Hey, Bernie, are you still a basketball fan? Do you ever get out and shoot around, or do you like to watch basketball once it comes back to TV or when it was on?
Yeah, I mean, I love to watch it. I'm fortunate enough to do the games for ESPN3 and ESPN Plus for the Catamount home games, and it's been a part of my whole life, and I love to do it. Do I like to go out and play? Not as much, because the body's getting slowing down, and you got the extra tire around the midsection that you're carrying, and you remember where you were as a player, and you look at where you are now, and that's a tough pill to swallow. So will I go out and shoot a little bit? Of course, but it's just more to kind of keep my kids humble, to let them know they still have a long way to go with what they need to do as well.
Yeah, I used to be the third or fourth option. Now I'm the inbounder, so I don't know what that says about my game.
Exactly.
Bernie, talk a little bit about, man, I just look at, with Kevin Roberson was a start of many. I think of Marcus Blakely, I'm going to miss some, by Anthony Lamb, some of these undersized bigs that are kind of perfect for today's NBA game. Anthony Lamb, this team that, did not get to participate in the tournament, what do you think the memory of Anthony Lamb will be at UVM?
Wow. I mean, I think Anthony Lamb will always remembered as one of the greatest players. He just got it done. I mean, you just knew, oh, let's see. We know Anthony's going to get 18 and 10, but is he going to get 30 and 20 tonight? You knew he was just going to find a way to make a play. And I hope the one thing that people will remember, besides how good of a scorer he was, but just how smart of a player he was. Yeah. If you look towards the end of his senior year, how his passing and his assist to turnover ratio got better throughout the course of the year. And that was his willingness to understand the double team and know where his players and teammates were and trusting them to make the right play. So I think for the remembrance of Anthony, just a man who came in and made a huge splash on a team that was good and helped make them great. And you look at what he has done with his record, not only in the America East but overall for the 4 years. Just again, the accolades and everything. He just should be remembered as one of the greatest players of all time.
And again, because I'm that old guy, I'll take Kevin Roberson over Marcus Blakely. But Marcus, he could jump, and it was just interesting to see some of his block shots. I remember it made me think of Roberson, how he'd get up and just block so many shots. What do you think is a comparison, or what are your thoughts when you think about Marcus Blakely?
I mean, Marcus Blakely, arguably the greatest athlete to ever come through the UVM program. I do agree with you. I'll take Kevin Roberson over Marcus, but his name will be in that conversation, justifiably so. But Marcus, again, you look at his involvement as a player. He came in and he was just an athlete, but he just worked and developed and got good coaching and just became better and better and better as a player. And he honed his God-given skills as an athlete and just became a better and complete basketball player by the end.
Yeah, for sure. The Duncan brothers definitely all got to play together on the same floor, but the Cieplicki family seems to own Vermont basketball. When you think back about what you've been able to be a part of, do you have thoughts of pride and joy, or is there a mixture of responsibility and somewhat a burden to carry on that legacy?
Both. I think there is so much pride and so much honor to be part of that family and what we've done and accomplished. And you just you can go through and list off a bunch of things that we've been able to do, and that's pretty humbling also, because you work really hard at it and you accomplish things, and it's stuff that will be there forever and ever, and it's pretty cool. But there is that burden to, you always have, someone that wants to, it's like anything, someone wants to become better and reach those goals and do those things. And that makes you work harder, that pushes you to become better and do what you have to do to be successful. So there's a lot of both sides to it, the mixed emotions, the factors of being so proud of who we are and what the family has accomplished. And you still look at Kyle, my nephew, and what he's doing with the program. So it's just so special that this started with my dad in the late 50s at St. Michael's, and now it's with Kyle here in 2020. So just that's a long time, and that's pretty special.
Oh, it definitely is. And I imagine with a name like Cieplicki, it's hard to get away from it and hide. If anybody finds out your name, they probably always assume that you're one of the basketball guys.
It's good. It's a blessing and a curse, but it's a great talking point for sure.
So a couple quick questions, then we'll get you out. Thanks again so much for making the time. Bernie Cieplicki just sharing with us. When we think about fall sports, winter sports in this current environment, what will it be like calling games if there's no fans in the stands?
It will be interesting. I mean, I hope we have the opportunity to find out. I'm really concerned about what's going to happen, but it's all about people's health and safety. Not having fans in the stands would stink, because that's half the fun. Feel the adrenaline, to feel proud, to have that. But at least you got the opportunity to play, and that's the biggest thing. You hope that that happens, and I mean, at the high school level, I hope it happens with no fans in the stands, because then the kids don't have to worry about the parents hooting and hollering and yelling at them, and yelling at the coaches, and they can just go out and play and have some fun, from that perspective. But let's just hope it happens, and let's hope we clear this hurdle and get back to as close to normal as we can for everybody to enjoy something that we all miss, and that's sports and athletics.
Yeah, that's a great point about parents in the stands, high school sports. Hey, so your brother being drafted by the Lakers in the mid 80s, were you a Lakers fan or a Celtics fan?
Um, I was a Celtics fan, and I quickly became a Lakers fan. So that was an easy swing, no doubt. I mean, I got a little salty when they cut him, but I understood. At least they gave him the opportunity that the opportunity of a lifetime that many of us that are ballers never got the chance to experience.
Oh, for sure. And Bernie, we'll get you out in this last final question. And it's not my best question, but it is a question. When you look back at your high school years, what advice would you tell yourself, knowing what you know now about how to enjoy the journey, even the discomfort of the journey?
Yeah, wow, that's a great question. Actually, I think it is just continual. Surround yourself with good people, work really hard, and enjoy the journey.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't get beat up or beat yourself up if you're not successful. The everything is changing and evolving, and there's always opportunities to get better and learn from your mistakes. And the one thing I really wish is that I bought in more to, that it's okay to make mistakes, because that's how you learn. That's how you get better. You take the opportunities you have, and it's okay to fall. It's okay to fail, but it's not okay to learn from those mistakes and learn from that failure. If you do that, then you're going to be more successful, not only as an athlete or a student, but as a person. And at the end of the day, it's about being the best person you can be and being the most productive person you can be to society. And failing is a huge part of that.
So good, so honest, and thank you so much for being a part. Bernie Cieplicki, feel the burn with Bernie. We need to get some T-shirts with your face on them for feel the burn.
Those will not be sellers.
Hey, Bernie, thanks so much. We'll talk to you soon. Enjoy the 4th and have a tremendous weekend.
Thank you, Jeff.
And again, that's my time with Bernie Cieplicki. You'll find more at Jay Fuller Interviews on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Certainly go to the YouTube channel and subscribe. It's the greater than icon at the bottom of the screen. And thank you for joining us on this beautiful, beautiful Friday. We'll talk to you again soon.